In the coming week, we'll be celebrating the feasts of Martha and Mary, sisters, very unlike one another, maybe as this picture of Caravaggio suggests. Mary in the New Testament is a very complicated figure, but perhaps if we follow the line of Mary as Martha's sister, we won't go too far wrong. In this picture, Martha on the left looks as though she's represented as a kind of homebody, whereas Mary looks a more going out type of person. But perhaps we're meant to see Mary turning away from the mirror that has been so important to her vanity towards seeing herself in the eyes of Martha in this scene. When we first hear of Martha and Mary together in Luke's Gospel in chapter 10, where Jesus comes to visit them, it's all to do with food. And here we have a great picture of Martha in the foreground preparing a massive banquet for those who are there. And you see just behind her right shoulder, Jesus and Mary in conversation together. Mary sitting beside Jesus, listening to him, hearing the gospel. Only one thing is necessary, Jesus says to Martha when she complains that Mary is not helping her. In this picture by Vermeer, which is in the National Gallery in Edinburgh, one of the paintings of his youth and one of his few religious paintings, we see again Martha and Mary and Jesus. Mary sitting at the feet of Jesus in the discipleship position, and now Martha coming to Jesus with a loaf in the basket. Only one thing is necessary, Jesus has said. Is this now the one thing that's necessary? This one loaf of bread, beautifully rounded, pregnant with Eucharist, you might say. This is the scene after Jesus' mild rebuke to Martha about what is necessary. And of course, he often himself is described as the one loaf. The next time we meet Martha and Mary together is again at Bethany, in their house, as they mourn the death of their brother Lazarus. They had sent word to Jesus to come and heal him, but he didn't come. But now he's arrived, and Martha comes out to meet him and challenges him. If you'd been here, my brother wouldn't have died. But she also proclaims her faith in the resurrection, as Jesus says to her, I am the resurrection and the life. Martha sends for Mary to come out of the house and greet him. And then Jesus begins to weep for the loss of his friend and calls him forth from the grave. Lazarus, he says, naming his name, come forth. And in this other painting from Caravaggio, here we see Martha and Mary around the head of Lazarus, weeping. Lazarus's left hand flopping down to the ground. But suddenly look upwards at his right hand, and his right hand is meeting the power of Jesus' creative word coming to him and raising him from the dead. What follows this moment of the restoration of Lazarus to his family is a meal at Bethany, where Jesus is anointed by Mary, an anointing that he himself says is prophetic of the death that is to come to him. The death does come to him. And again, Mary is there in the group as they lay Jesus in the tomb. Having seen where he has been laid, she goes to the grave and she sees somebody whom she imagines to be the gardener and asks him to tell her where they've put Jesus, where they put the body of Jesus. And Jesus speaks to her and says, Mary. And at that moment, she recognizes who he is. Jesus speaks Mary's name to Mary to give her life in the way that he spoke to Lazarus, called him by name, Lazarus, come forth, to give him life. And Mary is now commissioned to proclaim the resurrection, to take the discipleship that she earned sitting at the feet of Jesus in the house at Bethany, and tell the disciples that Jesus has risen.